Switch a minute to security. What was the security like? Was there any? Did you feel any sense of danger where you were?
This is one of the one things that, and before leaving, anytime I would tell someone, oh, I'm going to be going to North Iraq, they say, oh my God, you're crazy, I would never do that. And I may have felt the same, but talking to our uncle Sargon, he had said that it's very safe, and we have confidence in him and his judgment, so we trusted that, and we went. And honestly, I didn't feel that we were in any danger of physical harm at any point, except for maybe some of the driving.
Now, where did you go specifically?
We flew into Erbil, and then we drove to Duhok, and that's where we spent most of our time, and taking short day trips up from there. We went to the archaeological site Mechenes, and we also went to Shindocha and saw a lot of carvings. And as far as security around those areas, I mean, it was very safe. I mean, there is a presence of Kurdish militia, Assyrian militia, but I asked many people, and if there's any possibility of armed conflict between any of the groups, and everyone answered no at this point.
Well, the appeal to go is remarkable. Sargon Shabbas, your uncle, who of course is the treasurer of our AssyrianAid Society, has been several times, and there's a little bit of thought of having the board meeting of the AssyrianAid Society there. It's a pretty remarkable attraction and appeal. What kind of needs did you see? What would you consider the most important needs our Assyrians had in northern Iraq?
I definitely feel like the schools, they were in good shape, and the teachers, you know, everybody was very good. But you can always do better when it comes to education, as far as like books, seats, chairs, markers, chalkboards, you know, like having chalk and just having all that daily stuff that they need. They do have it, but it is something that's always, you know, always needed. You know, it's like, it's not like there's an abundance of chalk, an abundance of this. They're always going to need help, and that was one thing that we noticed that we would like to help with a lot with.
And beyond the situation in the school, what about food and clothing and housing and any of the cultural events, the student sports things? There's such a broad section. Any comments on any of that, Michael?
As Tony said, education, we both feel very strongly that for any culture or society to really move forward, education is one of the most important things. And you can educate people as much as you can, but once they're out of that educational environment and they're then ready to contribute to the society, if there's no opportunity for that, then that's a very difficult situation. We saw that industry in North Iraq is completely lacking. We tried to find Iraqi-made sandals, not just made by Assyrians, but just made in North Iraq in general. We couldn't find everything. Everything's from Syria, Turkey, and so these Assyrian youth who come out with this great education, speaking 4 languages, and whether they're lawyers, engineers, what have you, there is really no industry for them to then contribute to. So that was one of the needs we saw, is for some sort of industry to be built in the area.
Was any of the feeling that you might go back and stay for an extended period, or you do plan to take more visits, apparently?
Of course. If it was up to us, we would have stayed a lot longer. But because we're both full-time students, unfortunately, we were not able to stay as long as we would like. And as far as us returning, you can guarantee that we'll be back.
So let's talk about your next trip. How would you plan the next trip differently? Anthony, you first.
Maybe have a little more of a structure as far as like where we were going to visit, and to make it, you know, be the best coordinated trip, so we're not going a long distance when we can see something shorter. Just making sure that we know where locations are, so we could actually hit as many Assyrian spots as possible as far as history and learning about our history.
Study the map a little more diligently before you leave. Michael?
One thing that I've felt that I would like to do is to go there and stay for an extended period of time, and especially because I don't speak our language very well, I'd like to go there and try and go to one of the schools to study the language and to really get an intimate knowledge of how people live there every day for an extended period of time. And then also when we go back, to do some research and figure out what some things are that people there need that we could bring to them, or just services that we could provide during our stay instead of just going and enriching ourselves and having a wonderful experience, to find out what we can do to actually help out people back in the homeland.
Well, and learning the language is a two-way street, because the students there want to improve their English and you want to improve your Assyrian so you could work with each other. That's a
We
great.
need to improve our Assyrian much more than they need to improve their English. They speak their English very well, so it
Right.
just facilitates the trip very well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, would you recommend other students doing the same thing?
I feel that any Assyrian student or anybody who'd like to visit that kind of history should experience it. I feel that it's a very strong connection back to your homeland, and for me, it really changed my life. And I feel that anyone who wants to do that, you should feel that it's a safe environment and there's no problems.
And of course, if anybody is ready to go, we'll give some information here for how you could contact us and get the information to wrap this up. It's very impressive, gentlemen, that you've gone and experienced this and felt this. I would like to thank Michael Jacob and Anthony Shabbas for joining us today. This is AssyrianAid TV.